my issue with kind of timing things is, for example, we're always waiting for a crash to happen, right? A lot of millennials are like, when is the next crash going to happen? And we've been constantly hearing this year, by the end of this year. And it never comes. So it's like, I know personally, I don't want that to stop me. But then what do I do if it's a seller's market?
It's the question, right? Like, I get that question. It's the right question, first of all. It absolutely is the right question. So they're on to something. The reason they're asking that question, your generation, my kids' generation, all my employees, 2/3 of the workforce today are millennials. I get it. It's because they've never seen one.
Yeah.
Well, they were too young, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there has been one, but you look at the last crash, it was 12 years ago, right? So, I mean, nobody was really investing then. So, there are still deals to be had. Trust me, we're still doing stuff. They're a lot harder to find. You have to be a lot more experienced to know what to look for. But the right time to buy is definitely after a crash. You want to, when there's blood in the water. The problem with that time frame, though, I will let you know, is everybody's freaking out. So the banks are freaking out, and everybody's freaking out. So there's no money. Even investors are, why would you buy now? So it's the opposite. Everybody's waiting for a crash. But trust me, I bought during crashes, and there's not a lot of money flowing around. People are like, ooh, I'm going to hold what I got and, kind of live through this. So there's psychological barriers on both ends, right? On when it's high and when it's low.
Yeah. And so for me personally, I know that this is a barrier for me because I remember last year I mentioned to you that I did want to start investing, and I found the property and everything was right, but it's scary because to think that I might put money onto this property and then what if next year there's a crash? So you mentioned about finding the resources and things like that. How do I get educated so that doesn't happen to me?
Well, I think you got to take a look at what a crash does, first of all. So what happens during a crash? People move to rentals.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened in the last one. So that's a good thing if you're buying rentals. But if you're buying them too high, it's not a good thing, right? Exactly. So I met with a guy yesterday. He's from Mexico, and they're doing a bunch of stuff in Argentina and Spain, and they bought some property in Old Town, Scottsdale.
Wow. Oh, perfect.
He paid $3 million an acre. I was like, oh my gosh. And I started putting the math together, and I said, dude, you're not going to make any money. Your rents have to be over $3,000 a month, and that's just not what the market supports. And so it's math. All of it's math. The land plus the buildings plus the rent. You know what I mean? And so if you understand, you have experience, and you can kind of ask those questions, it all starts to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It really does. And so there are tons of good deals out there. I personally think it's the most exciting time for millennials to start businesses. And so while it's great to have investment properties and all those kinds of things, it is a timing thing.